All right. Tonight, hello guys. We're up to episode 193. No, yeah, 100.
That's good going.
Yeah, 193. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
So tonight we've got Mr. SILFOXX, Ares Chaplin, coming on to talk about the history of Perth nightlife. And also all the other stuff you get up to, and all your fun adventures and everything.
How long have we got?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah, we might need a few more.
Yeah, hopefully we can cram it all in. Hopefully. But, so, you've been doing this since 1989, you said?
Yes, I am.
If it's all right, can you please pull in the mic as well? Sorry.
What's that?
I'll pull in the microphone.
A lot closer.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we usually do that prior, but...
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
All right, cool.
So
yeah, 1989. So I actually started work as a 17-year-old.
oh, wow. Before you were even legal to go in the club.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
When I was asked how old I was, I said I was 18 because I was only a few months away from turning 18.
Okay, that's all right then. Yeah, yeah.
And they asked for my tax file number.
Yeah.
And back then you had to like send off to the tax department, and you know it was a process. It wasn't just go online and get it. You know, you had to like mail shit.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah, in the 80s.
So I've made an application to the taxation department for my tax file number. I'll have it soon.
Yeah.
And then of course when it finally arrived, it had my birth date. And they're like, you told us you were 18 and you've been working here for 3 months. I was like, and they're like, you're fired.
Really? So they actually fired you on the spot?
They
for
did, but they re-employed me the next day.
Very nice. What were you doing though back then? And what club? What was it?
So I was a glassy at the Berlin Club.
The Berlin Club.
Yes.
So whereabouts was that? Because I've heard stories about this place.
All right, so you know the vacant block sort of on the east side of Metropolis City? And then there's that
Metro
black
City?
building on the corner of, I think it's Milligan Street and Rose Street.
now we've
They do use it for gigs
Yeah.
sometimes still.
yeah, okay, and that's it. So you got like Air Nightclub, Midnight Club, and across no,
Further down. So
further down.
There's
Okay.
the Irish pub on the corner, so opposite Russell Square.
Yeah. Okay.
That little
yeah.
street, you know where Russell Square is, and that street that goes down towards the railway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And on your right-hand side, right on the corner, there's that sort of blacked out building. It's all black.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the old Berlin Club.
Really? And they haven't repurposed it, done anything with it, or?
No, apparently Western Power owns it now, and they just have like admin or something going on there.
Wow,
It used to
okay.
be owned by Metropolis at one point.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think they sold it to Western Power. I think.
Wow. All right.
Or maybe it was the other way around. But yeah, it was owned by Metropolis at one point.
And so, what was it like? Like, what was the music and
man.
everything like?
So, I mean, you know, I saw bands like Technotronic and Black Box, and you know, like that's the sort of acts that we used to get at Berlin Club.
Technotronics.
Yeah,
I
Technotronic.
Don't think I've ever
Pump
heard
Up
of
the
them.
Jam.
Oh yes, yeah. I do
So,
know them. I do play them
You know,
actually.
Two Unlimited, like
Yeah,
these
yeah,
are the
yeah.
kind of acts. So the old sort of, you know, like house/techno bands of like the early '90s were the kinds of bands,
Yeah.
or DJs and stuff that used to play there.
But they would
yeah,
be
so-
they would be on tour though, and then they come to the Berlin.
That was sort of that were the acts that they sort of got in, and then we had, you know, they would get sort of guest DJs and stuff in, and there was a show every night at midnight. You know, there was always like a dance performance.
What time would it normally shut as well? Like,
It was one of those ones that would go through till 6 in the morning.
really?
Yeah.
So we used to have that in Perth then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's wild how it's like in today's day and age, it's like 4 a.m. cut off really.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, everyone's out by 5 usually, but
So
yeah.
that was, I mean, and I'll put a caveat on this conversation. I've never taken drugs and I've never drunk. Right, I've been a clean skin my whole life. I'm clean living person my whole life.
Yeah.
Not a clean skin, but I have a clean skin because I don't have a single tattoo.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's really good. Because I like talking about that, the damages from drinking, doing all the drugs, and staying up late and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it can be really detrimental to yourself.
Yeah, it can,
But-
and it can be detrimental without the drugs and the alcohol too. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like my health has suffered because of the lack of sleep that I've had over the years.
Really? Okay. Wow.
But yeah, the Berlin Club was so it was, you know, sort of like techno, house, and trance. It was kind of like the vibe, I guess, back then. I think it was dance music was kind of finding its feet in Australia and Perth.
Yeah.
So it was pretty mixed, but we had some amazing DJs, you know, like Miggy, Darren Brie, Ken Waden, you know, like just some.
So Ken Waden, let's try and pull these guys up. Like, I want to see these dudes.
Incredible DJs, but it was very drug heavy.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah,
And
like
me not being a druggie at all.
Yeah.
I got a real sort of rude awakening coming as a green 17-year-old kid.
It's like, why is everyone acting weird?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that was when ecstasy first hit the market, right? And it was pure, like it wasn't cut and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't smacky. Like it was really pure MDMA, and everyone was just happy and like,
just going for it.
Random people would just come up and hug you and rub your back and kiss you. And, you know, it was.
And you were the sober one out of the group.
Yeah. It was really interesting to be in that environment as, you know, as a complete noob, and also just, you know, completely sober. Like, yeah.
No, that's very cool then. But then, so how long were you working in Berlin club for?
I didn't work there for too long, to be honest. So talk about rude awakenings. One of the things that I saw after working there for only a few months was I walked into the toilets and I saw a dude like passed out in like under the basins with a needle still sticking out of his arm.
Yeah, okay.
And that for me, like as a kid of that age and not having been exposed to anything like that before, that just flipped my lid. Like I was just like, oh dude, I got to get out of here. Like this is not my scene at all.
That's completely fair, honestly.
Even though I loved the music, and I did love the music, and like Berlin was the first club that I ever went to that had like go-go dancers up in cages.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, I want to do that one day. It was like it was either that or DJ. You know what I mean? Like I was going to be one or the other.
Very nice.
Both as it turned out, but yeah. I would watch those guys dance, like while I was working, and the nights that I wasn't working, I would just watch those guys dance, and I would go home. I had a full-length mirror in my bedroom, and I just practice.
Really?
And I taught myself how to dance, watching the guys and the girls in the cages.
That's cool.
At Berlin nightclub.
Very, very cool. Because instead of going off and actually like paying someone else to teach and stuff, just mimicked it. That's amazing.
And then I was working as a glassy, like I said, at Berlin one night, and some fella called Julian came and had a chat to me. I said, oh, you know, are you looking for work anywhere else? And I'd already made up my mind that I wanted to get out of this environment because it was very drug heavy. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. And he gave me his card, said, give me a call. Turns out he was the manager of Havana nightclub in Northbridge.
Havana nightclub?
Yeah.
Whereabouts was that? Like,
so, what's it called now? So it was the library. It was Kremlin for a while. It was library for a while. On Lake Street.
On Lake Street in Northbridge?
Yeah. So it's that, I don't even know what it's called now. It's right up the northern end, I guess you'd say, of Lake Street.
Well, let's pull... oh, there it is there. So Havana nightclub.
Oh, wow, you've actually pulled up pics. No way.
Is there any other pics as well? Or? But yeah, so Havana, so on Lake Street...
It was called Hannibal's prior to that.
Hannibal's, really? And similar kind of music?
This is going back late 80s, early 90s. So I think Havana opened in 1990 on the 27th of March from memory, because I remember it opening on my birthday. Or thereabouts. It was 1991, somewhere around there. So at the library,
so it is the library nightclub.
Yeah, it's the library now, So Julian was the bar manager of that place, and he gave me a gig there as a glassy. I ended up working there as a glassy for about a year, then as a barman for like a year and a half.
What was the music like there? Like that's
very, very mainstream, like house and like commercial house and dance.
Yeah.
So Simon Barwood, who is now the owner and resident DJ at Air Nightclub.
Okay.
He was the resident DJ at Havana.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's nuts, though. So it's like so he was a DJ.
Yeah.
Just there.
Yeah.
And now he's moved his way through the industry.
Yeah. So he's
leveled up.
He's owned that nightclub for probably close on 20 years now, I'd say.
Really?
It's because it was, oh man.
Yeah, because it was Rise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Rise. It was O2. It was Rise. It's Air. It was James Street before that. It was Eagle One before that. Like it's had so many iterations over the years.
Yeah, can we look up Eagle One? Like
Eagle One would have been like 80s. Yeah. And then it became James Street like late 80s, early 90s. Oh no, Networks first. Sorry.
Networks.
So that was the first club I ever went to. Was Networks.
Networks.
Yeah.
Were you underage as well?
Yes.
Very nice.
But I won't name names, but a relative of mine who was a detective.
Yeah.
Took me in for my first. Experience of a nightclub. So Networks, that's what got me hooked. I went to Networks. So Networks closed up after a few months and became Berlin.
Oh, go through those photos. That looks so cool.
Yeah. They moved it over to Berlin. So all the Network staff and everything went from that venue over to Berlin. And then Networks became James Street, I think, from memory.
Yeah, wow. How many clubs and bars were there around back then in Perth?
I mean, nowhere near as many as there are now.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like,
what I was thinking.
There was like, probably
Like, look at that.
10 or 15 big ones throughout the whole metropolitan area, and whereas now you've just got small bars and
everywhere, yeah.
alley bars, and you know it's there's more than you can actually ever go to or keep up with.
And so Connie's was still around there as well.
Oh man, Connie's been going for over 40 years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Did you ever go to Connie's as well back in the day? Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
Connie's
it
was
like?
the place where you all went after work, right? So you'd do your shift in your nightclub. You'd finish at 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was in the morning, and if Connie's was still open, we just all pile in there.
Really?
Or DC's, so the gay clubs, because they were safe, right? Like
Yeah.
You could always go to a gay club and not worry about getting beaten up or harassed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, so pretty much all the staff, of all the different clubs that I've worked in, would usually go to
Connie's
or DC's after work.
Well, see, that's and Connie's is still the same. Like they've got that mix now because I think from what I've heard around the industry, it's like single guys now realize that single girls go to Connie's.
Yeah.
So then it's like it's silly, but you can't say no to everyone almost. But at the same time, it's like Connie's has always been a safe haven in a way.
It's the unfortunate progression of most sort of gay venues. I think like DC started out very gay and then became very sort of mainstream and straight. The Courts kind of followed the same thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Connie's have I think they've probably done a better job of keeping it more LGBT.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's definitely a bunch of straight guys in there.
Yeah, of course.
Trolling for chicks because the chicks go there because it's safe.
Yeah. Where was DC? Like, I've never heard of DC.
Just around the corner from Havana on is it Francis Street?
So is that it there? Dual control dance club?
DC's, yep.
Yeah, wow, okay.
So DC's in the infirmary.
And the infirmary.
Yeah, so the infirmary was like a back room. So you know how Capital, you got Capital and Amplifier?
Yeah,
so it was like DC's and infirmary. So DC's was very sort of housey, and then the infirmary was like real heavy.
Yeah, like acid techno and stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, very cool.
It was like, like if DC's was like 130 beats per minute, infirmary was like 172 beats per minute.
Yeah.
It was just like,
That's so cool
there.
though.
Yeah.
And so like would it always be busy as well? Like, yeah.
Because there wasn't as many clubs, the clubs that did exist were busy. Yeah.
Right, that's so good though, because now it's like there's so many different options that kids don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Or even like, I don't really know where to go as well, because there's just like, it could be quiet at some points or whatever it is. Because from DJing in the industry, from what I've seen over the last couple of years, ever since after COVID, it's like venues are kind of struggling a little bit. People aren't going out as much.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of like all the media and everything like that portraying how people get violent and all the other stuff and what happened in Sydney with King Hits and everything like that. There's like a fear around going out and just having a good night.
Yeah.
But hopefully things change. Hopefully things get a bit better.
Yeah.
So then what were you doing? So you worked at Berlin Club and then you worked at Havana's.
Yep, that's right.
And then how long were you working at Havana's for again?
2.5 years there.
And that was just glassing as well?
Glassing for the first sort of year, and then I think barman for like the last year and a half,
How was it like being a bartender during that time period? Because like, for example, I've seen like at Market Grounds when it's flat out and super busy, it's just like order after order after order. Was it very similar? It's just like consistently go, go, go? Like
it was. You know what? It makes me laugh though, like watching, like I go into a bar now and see bar staff serving one person at a time. Back then, we'd take 3, 4, 5 orders at a time.
Really?
Yeah. So
all right.
like, and we were doing maths in our head too. Like we didn't have, like the fancy tills that you have now, the touch screens and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You just had an open till on the thing, and you had to like work it all out in your head, cash in the till because it was all cash.
No FOS. Yeah. Wow.
And so you'd be doing like, you'd not only have to remember 4 or 5 orders on the go, you'd also have to remember the price and what they gave you and what changed. So you'd have like, you'd have a bunch in your notes and be like, right, that guy gave me the 20, that guy gave me the 50, that guy gave me the 20. You know what I mean? And dish out the right change. It was a different time, man.
Yeah, that would have been nuts.
Different time.
But then like was there still like a big menu of drinks as well to choose from? Yeah, so then that's nuts. Yeah. So it's like, okay, he wanted the Han Super Dry, he wanted the Swanee D. Like,
I mean, there wasn't the range that we have now, you know what I mean? Like it's like milk. You go into a supermarket and there's like 472 different milks.
Yeah, that's it.
Back then there was 2. There was like full fat and high-low, that was it.
Yeah,
and it's a bit like that, there wasn't 27,000 boutique beers and all these fancy liqueurs and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a lot simpler. And we didn't do cocktails. Like most venues had a cocktail bar.
Yep.
Whereas, so, they'd have 3 or 4 bars. One would do cocktails only.
Yeah,
and the rest
okay.
would just be, sort
That makes sense, because then otherwise it'd be way too crowded and complex. Someone would be like, "Oh, I'll have a margarita," and it's like, "Well, this guy wants a beer," and it's like, just spend time making the margarita whilst also trying to pour a beer. That'd be full on. But yeah, no, wow. And so with Havanas, like, so what type of events would they throw and stuff like that? Because you said Berlin would get like Tektronics and 2 Unlimited and stuff like that.
They really just had the resident DJ. I mean, they had a formula that really, really worked.
Yeah.
So get this. So on Friday nights, from I think it was 5 till 6 or 6 till 7, they would do free drinks for an hour.
Free drink? Yeah. Wow, okay.
So we'd get a corporate crew straight after work. Everyone would come. I think it was 6 till 7. So all the St George's Terrace people would come. So it was all suits and ties, you know.
Yeah, very cool, yeah.
And they would just come and get plastered after a week at work, right? Because there was no Northbridge Accord or anything like that, you know. Like, you could do free drinks, you could do shots, you could do shakers of illusion, you could do flaming Lamborghinis, you know what I mean? Like,
really? So you could go that deep into it? Like, yeah, wow, okay.
Yep.
Because that's where there's so many restrictions these days. You can't do anything.
Yeah, no, we didn't have any restrictions back then. It was just take their money, you know, like let them order whatever they want. Yeah. And security would figure the rest out, you know what I mean?
Can we look up what a flaming Lamborghini is? Because isn't that like when it's like shavings and it catches on fire or something like that? No,
so it's just a super, super potent cocktail with like green chartreuse and freaking,
really?
like, you know, sambuca and all sorts of like nasty shit in it that you light on fire.
Yeah.
And then you have like a blue curacao, I think it's blue curacao vodka and cream shot.
Okay.
That you sort of, and it's on fire, right? So you got to be careful not to like get your hair on fire. So you get a long straw and you suck that down as fast as you can. Then just as it gets to the bottom, they pour in the shot and you do the shot as well.
Wow. Yeah. So get you plastered.
Oh yeah, no, one of those would mess you up for the whole night. Like it was pure alcohol. There was no mixer in it at all.
That's amazing. Yeah. See, that's what I've found so crazy, because like I DJ at this place called Long Chim's.
Oh yeah.
And so playing at Long Chim's, there's a guy there who got me onto this cocktail. And we're getting into this cocktail. It's called a scofflaw. Can you Google the scofflaw? It's like my favorite cocktail. Yeah. But the problem is the traditional way of making it is it will have 3 shots of alcohol in it. But now because of liquor licensing and everything, all cocktails have to have only 2 shots.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So that's it. It's like a maximum of 2 shots of alcohol. So then we're having like a traditional recipe like that. So it's SCOFFLAW. But then with that, it's it's like they've had to change it up a bit, so it's more diluted. Yeah. Still tastes really good, but it's like I've made it at home with 3 shots in it, and it's like jet fuel. Yeah. Like, gets you going.
So do you guys, are any of you old enough to know what an illusion shaker is?
No.
So you used to have these Midori shakers. So I think illusions were a Midori sort of brainchild, maybe, like a marketing thing. So you had all these, like, you know, white plastic Midori shakers in every venue.
Okay.
And you would make these things called illusions. And it was pretty much all the white spirits. So you'd go like vodka, gin, you'd do Malibu, you'd do Cointreau,
really?
And then you'd do Midori. And then you'd top it up with pineapple juice, right? It was meant to be just like a shot of each, but it was literally like, you know, your illusion shaker, you know, typical cocktail shaker about that big, you'd put about that much pineapple juice in the top.
Really?
And the rest was pure alcohol.
That's nuts.
And they used to cost about $25 each.
$25?
Yeah. I mean, by today's standard, that'd be $100 easy for that much alcohol.
That's it,
It's a $25 thing.
That's nuts, though. And like, you drink one of those, you'd be done.
And that's the thing, people used to just grab one and just walk around carrying it and drinking it. You know, others would obviously do shots between their friends, but some people would just take one of those.
And then so with working in the bar then at Havana, did you mention that you kind of moved up to like cocktails and flaring and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of that as well. So after Havana, I got a job at Aqua.
Okay. Where was Aqua?
So where Penthouse Club is now.
Okay. Yep.
So that was Aqua nightclub. That or the building next door. It's all a little bit vague because there was. So originally they were called the Freezer and Limbos.
Freezer and Limbos.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know of a DJ called JJ.
No, I don't think so.
So JJ still plays at Connie's and a few places around the traps. He's my vintage, bald guy.
Okay.
So he was the resident DJ at Limbos like way back in the day, and he's still playing in Perth now.
That's amazing though. That's really cool.
So yeah, it was Limbos and the Freezer were side by side, and then they sort of petered out. And I think the Freezer, I can't remember which one was which.
Was the Freezer downstairs? at all?
No, yeah, it was. Yeah.
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 So that would be where Joe's Juice Joint is then, I reckon. Because you got
Maybe, yeah.
penthouse,
Yeah.
and then there is like a door next to the penthouse.
Yeah,
But it's a
yeah.
downstairs. It's a rock and roll bar now.
Right. Okay.
But it was vacant for so long.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
they just went down and turned into like a full on dive bar.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's so cool in there
Yeah,
now.
okay. I think Limbo's was at ground level.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
it wasn't like you didn't like go down from the street. You just walked in from the street.
But then what's
sorry,
for
the freezer? Limbo's was upstairs and freezer was downstairs. So side by side.
that's so cool though.
Yeah.
Before it was a strip club. Like, it was a
Yeah,
cool
yeah,
nightclub.
So from Havana, I went to Aqua nightclub.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the stories I could tell you from that place. Holy shit.
So is that the photo of it there or?
No, that doesn't look like Aqua. Oh, that top right one maybe.
With that one there?
Aqua Late Night Bar it was called.
Well, yeah, look up Aqua Late Night Bar, see if you can.
The logo is a starfish, like an orange starfish on a blue background.
See, that's where it sucks in a way. It's like, we need more of this history on Google, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just so many memories and fun times.
If you
Like,
probably went into that Facebook page you were showing me before, the history of Perth nightclubs, and did like a search for Aqua, I'm sure something would come up.
hopefully.
Because like that was an iconic Perth club. Like that was just
How long was it around for? Because I thought,
probably like 5 or 6 or 7 years. Or
Oh,
something.
really?
It had a pretty good run. Yeah. Again, very drug heavy. Very gangstery, druggy, scary. There you go. There's some Aqua paraphernalia, and as you go down, yeah. So that was the logo there. I've
Really?
actually still got one of those Aqua stickers, and I've got the keychain as well.
Keychains. So they gave out keychains.
Memberships, yeah.
Memberships to a nightclub. What
Yeah,
were the
yeah.
memberships including?
You get like, priority entry and cheap drinks and discount tickets if they had events and that sort of stuff.
What was that one? That go back up. So that was the other James Street
That's
nightclub.
James Street, yeah. So that's what Networks became after that closed down.
That's so cool. Aqua Bar and Cafe.
And that's so Aqua's kind of where I got introduced. There was a couple of flair barmen already working there, and I was like, this would be a great way to get the ladies.
Yeah.
Throw a few glasses over my head and bottles behind my back and stuff. So I would sneak some glasses home and would set up like a bench out the back at home and
And then
flip
just
glasses
practice.
and bottles, take empty bottles out of the bin and fill them up with water, and taught myself how to flare.
And then how long did it take you to learn how to do flaring? Like, not long at all, or like?
No, not too long. It probably wasn't anywhere near as.
Sorry, are those keys?
Yeah. So these are also you've got your freezer membership down the bottom there. You've got your Networks membership. You've got your Berlin, the top right there. Ladro. So can I get up and?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oops.
So you just use the mouse to circle around wherever he's looking.
So Ladro, there you've got a Havana keyring. So I've got one of those somewhere. I've got one of those because I worked at Ladro. I worked at Aqua. I'm going to say I missed out on the freezer memberships because I was already sort of at Berlin and Havana by then. But yeah, so Ladro was next door to Aqua. So you sort of had Aqua and then Ladro next door.
Yeah,
They
okay.
sort of took over from the freezer and Limbo's.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
though. And so, how long do these key rings run from? Because like freezer
You get a fresh membership each year.
each year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't do it. Like, the strip clubs have memberships, but the nightclubs here don't have memberships. Like,
They used to, yeah.
that's so cool. And so you could kind of walk up, show your membership, and you just
Get straight in, yeah.
get straight in, so you wouldn't have to line up or anything.
No.
That's cool. So then how long were the lines at some of these venues? Because back in the day, like, now sometimes I've seen lines that go around the corner and stuff like that for certain events.
Like sometimes you'd wait, an hour plus to get into a venue.
That's so cool.
I never did because industry always got looked after. So if you're in industry and people knew that you were industry, like even if they were full, they just let you in or sneak you in the back door or something. But I hate being the age that I am now and going out and not knowing anybody.
Yeah.
And having to bloody queue up at places. It drives me nuts because I've been spoiled, right?
Yeah.
Our whole lives, we've just had this,
That's
sort of VIP treatment, and now I'm old and grey and I'm a bit of a nobody.
So that's where it's wild, because it's almost like doing the circuit, the way I describe it. Because like with the DJs that come into the scene, a lot of DJs will come in, they'll play at a few clubs and they'll figure out if they want to stick around or, try and get more work and then, try and stick around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, there's not enough venues in Perth to be able to have all the DJs.
Because there's so many DJs
Yeah,
now.
yeah, there's
right?
like
the
1,000
technology has made it so accessible.
That's it, yeah.
You know, like again, back in the day, you had to know how to spin vinyl.
Yeah.
And then it sort of became CD. But even that, it's an art. You know, like
Yeah.
so much harder than just plugging a USB and reading a waveform and going, oh yeah, I'll just make the beats line up and
Yeah.
you know, use my digital functions that just blend everything together for you
That's
seamlessly.
it.
Like,
It's just
we
that
actually
it's
had the beat mix.
Yeah, that's it. It's like it's just advanced over the time, but at the same time, it's like you can still beat match, but you just don't, just don't look at the screens almost.
Yeah.
So like for me, like I've been DJing for 10 years now, 9-10 years,
Yeah.
and with doing that, it's like I've always just used a laptop.
Yeah.
But then through that, it's like that's where I'm just accustomed to it.
Yeah.
But I like being able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because like instead of memorizing your tracks, then it's like I can still beat match and have fun with it and the whole lot. But it's like I just like the technology behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then back then, like let's progress. So like you did the flaring,
Yep.
and then like where did you do the flaring at, and like what?
Yeah, so I was a flare barman at Aqua.
Can we look up videos of like flaring stuff, because you were fully throwing the bottles in the air and everything. That's so cool. Yeah.
So I flared at Aqua. I flared at Ladro. More so at Ladro. Like Aqua was just kind of where I got exposed to it and I started to learn how to do it. Ladro was where I really got into it. But again, like I'm not talking like competition level flaring. Like just throwing some stuff around behind your back to impress the people at the bar.
Yeah,
when it's
yeah.
not too busy. You know. What I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because some of the flaring things.
These guys are sort of next level.
Yeah.
I can do a lot of this stuff, but not all of it.
Yeah, so
cool.
yeah, that's very cool. That is competition level.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I wasn't interested in competing. I just was trying to pick up girls back then. So I was just trying to do anything that sort of set me apart from the other bums.
Yeah. That's so cool though. It's like a competition. It's like, wait, Jeremy, watch this, and then I flick the bottle. Like, wait, did she look? Did she see?
So and then where else did I work? Oh, so the Zanzibar.
Zanzibar. Where was that?
Where Little Creatures is now.
Really, in Fremantle?
Yeah. That used to be a bar called Zanzibar. It was owned by Graham Hunter and those guys that used to own the Leaderville Hotel.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that opened up in 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I got employed as pretty much like as a flair barman, like cocktail flair barman. So I had a bar to myself, and that's all I did was make cocktails and throw shit around. And yeah.
That's very cool though.
Yeah.
How big was the bar back then, like Zanzibar? Because
Zanzibar was a massive venue. Like,
so it was
look
huge.
at how big Little Creatures is.
That's
right?
it.
Like
Yeah.
It was that building, right? So it was huge. It was decked out very, very differently. But yeah, you had sort of a couple of bars downstairs, a couple of bars upstairs.
Yeah,
one big bar upstairs and 2 or 3 bars downstairs and a massive dance floor.
Would there be multiple DJs as well, like different rooms for different DJs and stuff? Or
no, I think they just had one DJ going through the whole venue.
Yeah, still.
But it was very mainstream, and it wasn't just dance music they played. Like they would play everything from rock, pop, dance.
Yeah.
It was a real mishmash of everything. So it was a very, very commercial Freo crew that used to go there.
That's so cool though, because that's what I like. I wish I was around for, because I love my 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, like the classic rock.
Yeah.
But to go to a nightclub and they'd be playing something like the Kinks or something like that.
Yeah.
Like classic
the hippie
rock.
club was all over that stuff. Like the hippie club in Leaderville used to play everything like 60s, 70s, 80s. But mainly 60s, 70s was their vibe.
Yeah, because the hippie club's been around forever, right?
Yeah, well, it was around when I started.
Really?
Industry, yeah. So. That's probably been around as long as Connections.
I thought the hippie club's been around since like early 2000s. It's like not that long.
It definitely predates that. It's definitely 90s.
That's wild. Yeah, because they've always had their Backpackers Night has always been like the biggest night, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because I think it's Tuesday nights, the hospitality night or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's wild. So then you're doing flares at which place again?
So Zanzibar.
At Zanzibar.
Freo, yeah.
And how long were you there for? Like,
I worked there for a year or 2 as well.
So you really like gave everything a go in a way.
Yeah. I mean, the timelines are a bit fuzzy.
Yeah. But just just enjoying it, and like, did you ever travel doing bartending or anything at all?
No. I've sort of been stuck in Perth most of my life.
And it's pretty good to be stuck here, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a pretty good place to live, I got to say.
Yeah, when you compare it to other places around the world, like...
I moved to Melbourne at one point, early 2000s, like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there, just to try and sort of further my DJ career.
Yeah, okay.
I was good mates with a guy called Lorne Padman, who was working for John Course and Andy Van over at Vicious Vinyl in Melbourne.
Vicious Vinyl, okay.
Yeah.
I've never really heard of them. Are they still around?
Yeah, they're an Aussie record label.
Yeah, okay.
John Course and Andy Van. Surely you know who John Course is? No?
No, not really, no.
John Course is one of the biggest house DJs in Australia.
Really?
And so him and Andy have got their own record label called Vicious. So Lorne was working for those guys. So I went over and crashed on his couch, and John actually got me a job. One of his mates owned a really nice sort of upmarket bar down on the Mornington Peninsula.
A Mornington Peninsula, okay.
And I went and DJ'd down there. That was such a good gig, honestly. So I was living in like right in Prahran in Melbourne, and I would just commute down. I'd just catch a bus down because I wasn't in Melbourne long enough to have a car or anything like that. And it was too far to ride my pushy with all my CDs. So I would commute down, and they would pay me $100 an hour plus my travel time. So I was getting $500 a night because I was doing usually 3 hours, sometimes more. And they would feed me bar card, like whatever I wanted.
That's pretty damn good.
So I'd make sort of $1,000. I'd work every Friday, Saturday night, and then I just didn't, and this is going back 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So $1,000 was a lot more money than it is now.
Yeah,
so I worked
a lot
2 nights
more
for my bread.
Yeah.
And then I just hung out in Melbourne and just
That's amazing. Just got to live it up over in Melbourne, basically.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get into the DJing? Because I can imagine it's the natural progressions, like glassy, bartender, then flair, and then also where does the go-go dancing tie into that as well?
So that was in between the sort of the flair barring and the DJing.
Yeah.
Going back to my story about teaching myself to dance in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 1994, I think it was.
I would have been 2 years old.
Yeah. Shut up. I was at a Sunday session at the Leadville Hotel. I mean, Sunday sessions at the Leadville Hotel now.
Yeah.
Again, let's consider how much more money was probably worth back then compared to now, right? Like,
Yeah.
They would take over the bar on a Sunday $70,000.
$70,000 on a Sunday in the 90s.
Sunday session in the 90s.
Holy
right?
shit! Oh my god!
We're talking like 2,000 or 3,000 people like crammed into that venue.
Yeah.
And again, they would bring DJs in from all over the world. Like Boy George, and you know what I mean. They would have like big name DJs come in. Nick Fish, and so again going back to sort of names from the 90s.
Yeah.
That place would just, they had residents too, and they had really good residents. That place just would absolutely jump on a Sunday afternoon.
That's crazy though.
So I would go there all the time on a Sunday, and I would dance. Because I'm one of these people, like if I hear a song I like, I cannot not dance. Even now at sort of, almost 52 years of age. Yeah. If I'm in a department store and there's a good house track on, I'm like...
Yeah, just bobbing away,
I just can't help myself. But again, back then I was a bit of a show off, and so I was, standing in the beer garden at Leederville, just, doing my thing, running man, all that sort of stuff.
Has the Leederville changed much from...
so much.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's unrecognisable.
Yeah.
And this fella came up and sort of tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, can you climb up on top of the bar there? So the back bar at the Leederville had like plywood on top of it.
Really? So you didn't even have to apply or anything? Some guy's like, hey, can you get up there?
He said, can you get up on there and like dance for like 3 songs for me? I was like, who are you? And he said, I'm the owner of the venue. And I said, okay, what's your name? And he said, Murray. And I said, Murray shook his hand.
Yeah.
And he said, look, here's $20, right? 3 songs. I just want to see how the crowd reacts. Right? So me being all of 22 or something, I got up there, ripped my shirt off, and just went to town, like
just had fun.
Danced my little ass off.
Yeah.
And of course the crowd went nuts.
Yeah, of course.
And I got down, and he said to me, that was really good. He said, have you got any friends that can dance like you can dance? I said, yeah, I know heaps of people, right? And he's like, cool, would you like the dance contract? I'd like to employ you like Wednesday nights, Friday nights, and Sunday nights to dance here.
Damn.
And I went, yeah, okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. But
So he said, what do you want to be paid? I said, oh, $30 an hour per person. He went, yep. So I hired some dancers. I paid them $25 each an hour. I kept $5 an hour myself, and I danced myself as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That worked out so well.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Teaching dancing and having my own little dance company called Infectious Dance Company.
Do you still have a website or anything like that for it? Or
man, that was so long ago.
Yeah,
I've got a business card floating around somewhere.
That's so cool though. And
so so I ended up working sort of 5 nights a week. At one stage I had between 30 and 40 dancers, and I had like 10 or 12 venues in Perth. And I sort of had dance contracts all over the place.
No way.
Yeah.
So not like, that's wild though.
It was a fun time. It was a really fun time.
Yeah.
You know, I was young, I was full of energy, I was fit. And yeah, it was a really, really good time to be alive, I tell you.
And so like, what were some of the venues that you had under you? Like, because to have 12 venues, that's amazing.
Oh man, you wouldn't remember Redhead's Bar.
So Redhead's Bar,
so Redhead's doesn't exist anymore. It's what do they call it? Is it so on the corner of Lake and James Street in Northbridge, where there's that plaza, Northbridge Plaza?
Yeah, okay.
That used to be a venue.
What, next to the Northbridge Brewing Company?
Yeah, that was a venue there. They've demolished it and turned it into a plaza, but that was Redhead's.
Really? So that little park there with that TV?
Yeah.
They had a venue?
Yeah, it used to be called Redhead's.
No way, okay.
You sidetracked me now.
No, so Redheads, and then what other venues did you have under you as well?
Okay, so yeah, I had dancers at Redheads, I had dancers at Havana, I had dancers at the Globe, which is Capital.
Yep.
I had dancers at the Leaderville Hotel, I had dancers at Exit Nightclub, I had dancers...
So Exit Nightclub in Perth?
Or Exit Nightclub on Stirling Street in Northbridge.
Really? Because then the Exit Nightclub moved to Bunbury. Like, did it?
Right.
Well,
yeah, they probably just took the name.
That's it,
Is it the Manor on Stirling? What's the one on Stirling Street called now?
Stirling Street.
Yeah.
Where has a Stirling
Street? It's had a bunch of iterations since. So Stirling Street in Northbridge.
Sterling Street. Let's have a look.
It's had a bunch of iterations since.
It's not no, it's on Aberdeen Street. Stirling Street. Which? See, like, I know my way around Perth.
Exit Nightclub Stirling Street. See what comes up. I had dancers at the Booragoon Tavern. So they used, you know, Garden City Shopping Centre used to be called Booragoon, Booragoon Shopping Centre. There was a tavern in the car park at Booragoon Shopping Centre called the Booragoon Tav, and I used to have dancers in there.
Wow.
Heaps of places.
Oh wait, is it the? What the hell is? Yeah, it's Villa.
Villa, that's right. Not Villa. Yeah.
Yep. So it's Villa, where Villa is now.
Yep.
No way.
So that used to be called Exit Nightclub.
Yeah, see, I think Villa's closed now indefinitely at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
It's just because they were actually running they were only opening on events.
Yeah, okay.
But then I think just they couldn't. Who knows? But there's no events there now.
Yeah.
So they just haven't opened their doors.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, so it's so wild though how it's like all these different venues around Perth. They just had like a lick of paint and changed the name and they reopened. Like
pretty much. They usually get about like somewhere around like 5 to 7 years at most, and then they churn them over into a new venue.
So then with the dancers as well, because this is fascinating. So then how many dancers would you have on a Friday night and a Saturday night, just at all venues? Because if you had 12, you have 24 dancers or 30, like.
Yeah, you'd have. That's what I mean. I had between 30 and 40 dancers out working. Some nights. So.
And how long would they dance for? Like 3 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah, usually like 3 to 5 hours. And although they weren't dancing the whole time, you do like 3 songs on, 3 songs off. So we'd rotate. So you'd have like maybe 5 dancers. You'd have 3 up, and then they'd come down, and then 2 go up, sort of thing, or 2 up and 2 up. So you just swap.
Yeah.
And so they'd do like 3 songs or 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off. And then they'd sort of get like some longer breaks as well.
Would they have to like practice to different songs and stuff like that, or try and?
And it was just all freestyle. Like,
just
we didn't
freestyle
do any,
dancing,
like, choreography or anything like that. We did some dumb shit, because I had my dance school, my dance studio in Osborne Park, which was a ballet school that I used to hire in the evenings after they'd finished their ballet. And I would teach people how to dance like freestyle the way that I did.
That's so cool.
And then I would cherry pick the best students would become the dancers for my venues.
That's so awesome. That's so wholesome though as well, because it's like people just want to get in and dance. It's like, all right, well here's your leg in the door. Do you want to dance at a nightclub? Like,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Um,
that's so cool.
Yeah. So occasionally we'd do some little silly routines, but only things that went for like 30 seconds. Like
Yeah.
nothing sort of major.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
How long did he do that for? Like, how long did he have the dance school and
it was only a few years. I mean, the politics of it, like
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I stayed at the start of it, and I was dating a girl at the time, and she got really heavily into the drug scene. And
Yeah,
then, that wasn't my scene at all, so I split up with her.
Yeah.
And then her and one of her girlfriends formed their own dance company and kind of like took dancers off like away from me, and then started like saying stuff about me that wasn't true around Northbridge, and
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
because I was never like, I hate saying this, but sometimes I think my career didn't go further because I don't drink and I don't take drugs and I don't kind of
No, don't say that.
connect with people on that level.
Yeah.
'Cause, like back in the day, like that's kind of what you had to do to like you had to
Yeah.
be one of the boys.
Yeah.
And I've never been one of the boys. I've always sort of danced to the beat of my own drum.
But that's honestly, that is a good thing.
I think it is too. But
Yeah.
I never sucked up to people to further my career. So I didn't do lines of coke with people, and I didn't get pissed with people to try and forward myself or forward my career.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, I regret this now, but I kind of looked down on people who did that. Whereas now I don't give a shit, right? I'm just like, do whatever, man. Your body, your life, your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if you're a good person, I'm good with you, right? But back then I was a lot more judgmental and narrow-minded than I am now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I used to judge people really harshly for that stuff. So I think I ostracized myself from a lot of the industry because I wasn't a party guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was.
But at the same time, though, it's like drugs can be very detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
Like they can be. Some drugs now they've proven medical benefits and this and that. But at the same time, it's like a lot. 90% of them, I'd say, it's like over time, it's just going to damage your body. But it's just a party thing almost.
Yeah.
And that's where it's even like alcohol. I was actually at work today. So I've been, I think it's like 34, 35 days sober, right?
Yeah.
But in saying like
Well
just from alcohol.
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's like alcohol. I was talking at work today where alcohol is a societal norm poison.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is.
Yeah, drunk is your body reacting to toxins. You know what I mean? Like it's your body going, I don't want this in me.
Yeah.
It's
it.
It's not a good thing. It's literal poison.
Yeah, it is literally poison.
Yeah.
But then how many adverts, how many marketing things, how
Our whole culture is based around it.
yeah. Australia is like, just have a beer with your mate, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like beer is not good for you. Spirits are not good for you. Alcohol in general is literally just not good for you.
Yeah. It's full of sugar. It's full of toxins. Like,
But it's such a societal norm though, and it's just so wild that it's like if you want to go out and party, like for me, because as I said, like I've been drinking for 8 years now, 8-9 years, just partying, DJing, the whole lot. But now going sober again, because I went sober ages ago for like 6 months, 9 months, but I was working during the week, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But now it's like when I go out and I go DJ and stuff like that, it's just like being a part of the culture, but not being on the same level as them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I've found in the past where it's like, when you're going to go and DJ in front of 100, 300, whatever it is, people, right? It's like being on the same level as them helps create the party, helps create the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But being the sober one out of the group can actually be like, it's almost like you have to pretend to be on their level.
Yeah, and it's hard, man. I mean, I had my dancing, so that was kind of like my connector.
Yeah.
Like I was cool because I was a dancer, and I was, not to float my own boat, but I was a very good dancer back in the day. I mean, I had my own dance company. I had dances around Perth. Like, and I really enjoyed it. Like I'd be up there dancing my little tush off, and I'd have the biggest smile on my face. Because like I was so happy to be doing. I mean, who doesn't enjoy dancing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was so happy to be doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was how I sort of connected with people. I didn't do it through drugs. I didn't do it through alcohol, but I did it through dancing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my in, I guess. But I feel like I went a lot further as a dancer than I did as a DJ.
But then, so how did you get into the DJing from the dancing then? Because you were saying how it's like...
I mean, the reason I worked in clubs was not to be cool or popular. It was not to do the drugs. It was actually because I loved music and dancing.
That's so wholesome. That's so good.
Disco, right? Like, I'm a child of the 70s, so I grew up with like, Boney M and Hot Chocolate and bands like that,
the classics.
And then Michael Jackson, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so my dad always had a good quality stereo in the house. You know what I mean? He was always belting out disco. My dad loved disco. And my mum did too. So I grew up on a steady diet of disco through the 70s, and then sort of pop in the 80s. And then, when house music sort of came along, and it was that real sort of like, because it originated from disco, right? Like gospel and disco was like mashed together was your original house music. And so it just had that same really wholesome, fun, upbeat, danceable vibe to it. So I was really, really into house music and really into disco. And then when I started working in the clubs, it was just like I just couldn't get enough of it, And I can remember when I was working at Berlin, they had like the DMC mixing championships. They had a heat of the mixing championships there. And again, I'll go back to Simon Barwood. Like, a lot of people still don't know who Simon Barwood is. He's one of the best DJs you'll ever see play in your life.
Really?
The guy's amazing. Like 3 vinyl turntables going at DMC. Like just doing the most insane stuff. It's like, young guy. He would have been like early 20s back then. And he's early 50s, mid 50s now, you know what I mean? Like he's been doing this a long time. And I've been to so many gigs now where Simon has been like the support act for the DJ that he's brought in, and he plays a better set than
Is this the guy here?
Yeah, that's Simon. There's him and his wife Donna on the right there. So Simon often plays a better set than the international DJs that he pays thousands of dollars to come and play in his venue. And his set is actually the better set because he's just so bloody good at what he does.
That's amazing. It's so good.
He's been doing it so long. He just puts music together so well.
And he's still in Perth today, right?
Yeah. He's like I said, he owns.
Owns Air nightclub.
Owns Air, yeah.
I want to see if I can get this guy on.
And still DJs there, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
That's wild.
So one of the names that I mentioned before, a guy called Lorne Padman.
Yeah.
So Lorne, I met at my 30th birthday through a mutual female friend of ours, Kath. She brought him along just as a ring-in to my, to my 30th birthday party. And we got chatting, and he said he's a DJ. I was like, oh man, I've always wanted to do that, because like I'd been watching guys like Simon and JJ and Miggy and Darren Brier and Ken Wade and Steve Mason, like all these amazing, and I mean I could list 100 more, right? But all these amazing Perth DJs. But I just didn't have the belief in myself to do that.
Yeah.
It was like it was a pie in the sky dream for me that I'd ever be a DJ one day, right?
I mean, back then it would have been so expensive because you had to buy all the records.
Yeah.
And you have to like buy your own Technic 1200s and stuff like that, and you have to teach yourself or get someone to teach you. And like,
well, by the time I got into it, the CDJs, the Pioneer CDJs, the very first ones had come out.
The 100s.
Right? So there used to be there used to be a DJ shop in Northbridge called the DJ Factory.
Yeah.
That was owned by Kenny L and a few other guys, I think. And I bought 2 CDJ 100s and a DJM 300 mixer in a little coffin case.
How much was that back in the day? Like, was it very expensive or?
You know what? I think for the mixer, the 2 turntables, an amp and 2 speakers, it cost me $3,500.
No way. But
So
see, that's the thing. It's like when you look at these things, like they're just a blast from the past.
With the old zip, jet, and wah function. On them. They
That's
have, like,
it.
3 effects.
Yeah.
So that's I had a mate called Cody. I don't know if he still DJs around sometimes too. DJ Cody. I was over his place one day and he was mixing on vinyl and he's like, I said, can I have a go? Like I've never tried that. And it took me like 3 goes to actually learn how to beat match on vinyl.
Yeah. Okay.
But I couldn't have. I mean, Technics turntables and vinyl was expensive, right? But CDs is like, you can burn your own CDs, like so. That was my in. So I bought this little, trio in the coffin case.
Yep.
Of Pioneer components.
But these weren't rewritable though, right? So it's like once you burn the music to the CD, then it's on that CD for good. Yeah.
So I just burnt like a whole bunch, and back then I was sort of really into trance. So I burnt like a whole bunch of trance stuff onto discs and just taught myself how to mix trance at home.
Yeah. Okay.
And then started doing like mates parties and 21sts and stuff, and and then. Man, I'd literally only been playing for a few months, like literally just the bedroom DJing for about 3 months. And my friend Lorne, who was he was trained by Simon Barwood, right? So Simon taught Lorne how to DJ. Lorne, I met at my 30th birthday, became a mate of mine. He was a resident DJ at Bass, which is now Mint.
Okay. Yep.
So he was a resident DJ at Bass, and I would just go in there and hang out with him every weekend because he just loved his music, like funky disco, vocal house, like just my taste exactly.
Yeah.
And and he gave me some tips, and he sort of burned a bunch of CDs and stuff for me. He was like a really big help in sort of getting me. Because like the trance stuff was fun, but I was never going to get full-time work or regular work playing sort of trance and techno. So I decided house was the way to go if I wanted regular work.
Yeah.
And I already loved house. I was just sort of having this dalliance with trance at the time. So I was at Bass one night watching Lorne play, and there was a girl in there who I knew from one of the bars down in Freo anyway. She'd knocked off. She'd come up to Northbridge. She was at Bass, and we got chatting. And she's like, "Oh, so what are you doing with yourself now?" And I very brashly said, "Oh, I'm a DJ now." And she's like, "Oh, really?" My flatmate's the manager of the Queen's Hotel, and he just fired his DJ tonight. Why don't you go and ask him for a job? I went, "All right."
Yeah, just all linked
so I
up.
walked over. This guy's name was Craig. I introduced myself and said, "Oh, I'm a DJ." And he said, "Oh, cool." He said, "Do you want to come and try out next Friday night?" He said, "Play for an hour. If you're good, I'll keep you on and pay you. If you're shit, I'll give you a beer and send you home." I went, "Sounds good to me."
That's a good plan.
So Lorne and I burnt like 70 discs of music with like 10 tracks on each. So we had like 700 house tracks.
Yeah.
Most of which I didn't know. Like he literally just dug into his collection and just gave me a whole bunch of music. And I rocked up at the Queen's with my little CDJ 100s and my 300 mixer and plugged the XLRs in, and all the RCAs they were then.
Yeah.
RCA to XLR, and played for an hour. And I was literally just making it up, man. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
But it was good though, right?
He came up to me after. I went, "Mate, you're a really good DJ. You've got the job."
That's awesome.
So I was a resident of the Queen's for the next 2.5 years.
That's amazing. So what nights were you playing at the Queen's then? Like,
so Friday, Saturdays, and some Sundays.
damn.
So I'd do Sunday fill-ins when the Sunday residents weren't.
Yeah.
weren't
That's so good. So for 2.5 years, so
Yeah.
every Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
And so, what was it like over the 2.5 years playing at the Queen's is such an iconic venue, and it's been around forever.
Yeah,
but
well, that was just after they renovated it too. So it was a very in place in Perth to be and to go.
yeah. What year was this? Like when this was happening?
Oh, it would have been early 2000s.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
2001, 2002, 2003 was when I was playing there.
That's amazing. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. And there's nothing around it.
No.
No apartments.
No,
No bottle shop there.
Yeah, so different, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's when you were playing when it was like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's so cool. And so, like, how would you go? Like, you had the 700 songs, right? But then every week, were you just like looking at finding new music?
So,
and
like Lorne introduced me to like different dance charts and stuff, and taught me how to use what was around back then. Where would we get our music from?
because would you ever read Express magazine and stuff like that and everything?
Yeah. So you get the dance charts, and there's like different DJs would put online dance charts and stuff. So you jump on the old interwebs and look up your favorite DJ and what his picks of the week were, and then you go and try and find them from and you download them on friggin' Napster or something, like whatever was around at the time.
Yeah.
You download your music onto a CD, and go and play it at at your venue.
Did it ever get like wild in there, like at the Queen's? Because I know like
busy, man. It was really busy, but
yeah. It wouldn't be like nightclub vibe though.
No. It was sort of pub vibe, Sunday session and sort of pub vibe, So it was where people would go before they went clubbing. Usually.
Yeah.
Except on a Sunday night, because back then pubs and clubs all had to close. I think on a Sunday night they had to close at 9.
At 9 p.m.
Yeah. So your Sunday session would usually start at 3 and then go till about 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild though. And then on Fridays and Saturdays still midnight for pubs and stuff.
Yeah. Because they had like funky liquor licensing laws back then, right? So you had to close at 9, and then they sort of eased it off, and you were allowed to get an extended license till 10, and then they made 10 sort of the regular, and then you get an extended license till midnight, and then they made sort of like midnight the regular closing night, and then it was extended licenses till sort of 1 or 2. So it's kind of eked out.
Yeah.
Until sort of bars basically had the same liquor licensing laws governing them, whether they were a pub or a nightclub.
Yeah.
But then you had what was called a cabaret license, which is what Zanzibar had.
Yeah,
which was
okay.
a 24-hour license.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to bring that up because there was actually a bar in Freo, it's shut now, called Vin Nolly's, and they had a cabaret license as well.
That,
Yeah, and so with that, it's like as long as they had chips on the table, they could be cold.
Yep.
As long as there's food on the table, they could be open serving drinks.
Yep.
And I've been there before at
Yeah.
5 a.m. in the
Yep,
morning
yep,
drinking.
yep.
So
Well, the Moon Cafe, right? The Moon Cafe
Yeah,
used
that's
to be
it.
a 24-hour cafe. And
Yeah.
You could get drinks, you could get food.
it's so
They would have
unfortunate.
DJs in there, like
'cause-
that place.
Yeah, that place was the bomb
It
back
was
in the day.
bomb.
Yeah.
It's,
Like-
I mean, it still is. I mean, they still have an amazing vibe and amazing food in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like.
Yeah, but
that-
now I think they shut at 11 p.m. or midnight or
yeah,
something like
they're
that.
open till 2, all through Fringe.
Oh, really? Open
Yeah.
till 2? And,
Yeah,
okay.
Every night during Fringe, they're open till 2 a.m.
Wow, okay. See, I haven't been to the Moon Cafe in such a long time.
Dude, it's so
But their
good.
food was so good.
It's still
Like, a
so
couple
good,
years.
and the portions are massive. You know?
Yeah.
And, like, it's such good value for money,
Yeah,
and it's such a nice vibe in there.
that's it. And it's been around for a long,
Yeah.
long time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just if you look up the Moon Cafe, and then, yeah, that's it. Yeah, those first 3-4 photos, yeah.
So yeah, so
It's iconic, that place.
resident at the Queen's, and then it just kind of went from there. You know, like people, I sort of got a reputation as because like that funky vocal disco house, like gospel house, like that was my thing, right? That's what I specialised in, and I didn't play anything else. Like I just kept it really, like, I guess narrow to that genre for a while, and that was huge at the time. So I started getting, you know, requests from other venues to come and sort of work for them.
That's good, though. That's awesome.
so-
So what other venues did you end up working for?
Oh man, I got a list, and I know I've missed some, but
Oh, you actually wrote up a list.
Yeah.
Sweet.
because I couldn't remember them all. It's taken me all day to remember.
Thank you for writing the list. It's
That's
like,
alright.
this has been awesome so far because it's just such a good dive into the history of Perth nightlife.
I'm
Like,
glad you're enjoying it. It's really
Yeah.
fun to talk about it. You know, like it's
yeah, it's the history.
it's my life. You know, like
Yeah.
so yeah, it's the Moon Cafe on William Street in Northbridge. So that
Yeah, so if you jump out of that, it's the first 3 photos there. So yeah, that photo, and then see the
Yeah.
second one. Because have they always had the nice booths and stuff like that?
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
always had the booths. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, click that one there. That's the one thing I love
Yeah.
about this venue. It's
Yeah.
so retro and so
Yeah.
classic. Like,
And they've got an outdoor area out the back now as well
yeah.
that you can go and sit in.
Yeah, it's like a little garden area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got
That's
the
out
front.
Yeah,
Yep.
they've got like the old bus, the old MTT buses,
Yeah.
bus chairs out the front.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's the back end part. But then they've opened it up a bit and they've like put plants and all sorts of stuff in there. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's really like it's such a good date spot, I reckon.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's got that sort of like dim lighting, cool music, quirky stuff,
Yeah.
great food. Like,
Yeah.
it really is a good date place.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, the list. Let's
so this is
do
in no
it.
specific order, right? Like I
Yeah.
was literally just, and a lot of these you won't know because they probably don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Or they've gone on to be different things. So, Queen's Hotel. Lorne ended up getting me a job at Base nightclub, so I ended up working at Base for
At base,
Simon Bartlett.
BASS or BASE?
BASE.
BASE nightclub.
So
We're-
Mint.
Okay, yeah. As you were saying before, yeah.
Red Sea and Under the Sea in Subiaco.
Okay. Red Sea. So Red Sea was around back then as well. Yeah. Okay. Because I remember that place closed down for a little bit or something, and then
Yeah.
reopened.
Yeah,
I think.
they've gone through again. That's gone through a few different
Yeah.
iterations.
Yeah.
So yeah, Red Sea, and then they had like a downstairs bar called Under the Sea, which became Gold Bar. I think at one point.
Yeah,
I ended
that's
up
it.
Working at Gold Bar.
Gold Bar was wild. So when I first came to Perth, I never realised there was places like this. But they had this situation where it's like all the guys had to line up, and the girls could go in. But then it's like they would do the ratio of like 3 girls to 1 guy or something like that. So then one guy could leave, and then one guy in the line could go in. But then you go in there, and there'd be girls everywhere.
Honestly, that place was a mecca. Like there was.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed DJing there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So yeah, Red Sea, Under the Sea, Gold Bar, Onyx Bar up in West Perth.
Onyx Bar, okay.
Yeah.
So ONYX? Or?
ONYX, yeah.
Okay.
If some pictures of that come up, that place was amazing. It had like a big water feature in the middle, and it was also like red velvety kind of vibe, and like red and black. It was back in the day. It was really classy.
In
it was
West
owned by
Perth.
Tony Sage, who owns Perth Glory.
Owns.
I think he just sold Perth Glory.
Oh wow, owned the soccer club.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's a developer. He's a multi-millionaire sort of. So yeah, the top left picture, you can see the pool there in the middle there. Yeah. So I mean, in its day, it was a really, really classy venue.
But it just go off though. Still get really busy and
and
pump and everything.
And you know, like I used to do like some of the venues that I worked in. I do like 6, 7, 8, 9 hour shifts as a DJ, like just me playing for the whole night from open.
That's so good.
You know, like.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that I love doing the long shifts as well. Like I do 6 hour shifts, but it'll rarely ever go past that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you know, club DJs these days only do 1 hour.
Yeah.
And doing 1 hour, it's like, sure, you can throw a lot of tracks in and have fun with it.
It's
and
so
this and
easy
that.
to play for an hour because you just throw banger in after banger, you know? Like it's very easy to do an impressive. I mean, that's a demo tape, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
it, yeah.
That's not a DJ set, that's a demo tape.
Yeah. That's it. That's cool. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But that's it, because then when you do a 6 hour set, you take the whole audience on a journey. Yeah. That's what I love so much about it. Like
when I applied to be a DJ at Base, I gave Simon Barwood a 40-minute mixtape.
Yeah.
CD, and he went, "What's this?" He said, "It's 40 minutes." He said, "Give me an hour at least." You know? So I had to do it. So I had to go home and re-record a second mix disc, a mixtape that it had to be over an hour long. So it was like an hour and 3 minutes. I just made it my hour, but he was like, "I'm not giving you a job on a 40-minute. I want to see what you can do."
That's so good.
So I submitted the second one, and I got a gig there on the strength of my second
second application.
So Onyx Bar. The Oyster Bar, what's it called? Oceans or something. It was Salt for a while, and there's Oceans down in Fremantle there on the coast.
Oceans, okay. Oh yeah, OBH, yeah. Ocean.
No. End of Tideman Road, like right down near the Rottnest Ferries. You know that like the place right on the beach?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It was called Salt for a while, now it's called Oceans.
Okay.
But it was previously called the Oyster Bar.
Yep.
So I DJ'd there.
So that's wild, because now they have the Oyster Bar in Elizabeth Quay.
Yeah, right, do they?
Yeah,
they do too.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's just... You know, just same name.
It might be the same owners. They might have taken the name, you know, or the license to a different venue or something.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The Raffles Hotel in Applecross.
Oh, yeah. That place used to go off, right, back in the day?
Club Capital with old mate that we were discussing earlier on.
Yep.
Tatio Bar in Scarborough. So that's now where that vacant block is on the corner opposite Rendezvous.
Okay.
You know the vacant block of land on Scarborough?
On Scarborough.
You've got the BP service station on the corner. You've got Rendezvous, the hotel on the other corner.
Yeah.
And there's a vacant block now. There used to be a bar there called Contatio Bar.
No way.
Resident DJ there for a couple of years.
Really? Yeah, that vacant block. I thought that was just going to be apartments or something, or it might be apartments eventually, but yeah.
I think it's going to be another high rise.
Yeah, high rise, yeah.
End up being.
Yeah. That's wild.
Allure Bar out at the casino. So again, Allure Bar was a very sort of upmarket bar out at the casino.
Yeah.
That a friend of mine, Caroline Watson, used to manage.
So was that became Eve nightclub or?
No, Eve was the other side.
The other side.
Bar was sort of inside.
Okay.
The casino, yeah, sort of looking out over the pool area.
Has the casino changed much over the years,
though? Oh my God, you got no idea.
Really?
Oh my, yeah.
In what way?
Mate, it's unrecognisable.
Yeah.
Like it's like comparing Perth to Tokyo. You know,
yeah.
Like it was Perth and now it's Tokyo. Like it's not even recognisable.
Yeah,
the
wow.
footprint of the casino is so much bigger than it used to be.
Yeah. Because that's what I just find so baffling. It's like a lot of people just go to the casino for Friday night, Saturday night, but it's like it's gambling. It's the casino.
Yeah,
it's like it's pretty, in my opinion, it's a pretty dirty spot.
Oh
like,
yeah. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like my mates will be like, "Oh, let's go to the cast." I'm like, "Nah, sorry, I'm not going." Yeah, that's it. I'm not spending money.
Druggies and gambling.
Yeah, that's it.
Alcoholics. Like it's just not. It's not a nice vibe out there at all.
No,
I don't understand why people go there.
Yeah.
So the George on St George's Terrace, which was another one of Caroline's venues.
The George.
Yeah.
Whereabouts was that on St George?
Up the west end of St George's Terrace.
What, towards Kings Park or?
Yeah. So right at the base of the hill there. It's not. It's yeah.
But that was a pub or a nightclub?
Yeah,
or?
It was like a pub, like a really sort of classy bar. Bar pub sort of,
the George. So
the George, yeah. So that's the George there. That's the logo. That's it. That's photos. I think that up the top there. That's it. That's the outdoor area. That's the indoor area.
No way.
Yeah. So that was a really funky venue, and they had a little function room out the back that I did a back-to-back event one night where I got Perth DJs to come in and play back-to-back. So me and Adam Kelly, I think, were the first night.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a very cool venue. It was really, really cool. So, it was very corporate-y, sooty, high-classy, expensive drinks, expensive food.
Yeah. Expensive girls.
Caroline, who used to manage that, was like a top-level chef in her day. So she knew food and alcohol. So her wine lists, her cocktail lists, her food was just next level. So all the venues that she had in Perth.
Yeah.
She ended up running the Cottesloe Beach Hotel for a while.
Wow, really?
She's run a bunch of venues around Perth very, very successfully.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah.
That's so good, though. It's like you're good friends with her, and then just like wherever she went to do venues,
I did a few different venues with her. Over the years.
It's always good to have it.
She had another venue in Nedlands, like just behind the hospital there. But I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. It'll come to me at some point. But it was after the George, so it was Allure, then the George, and then she opened this one in sort of Nedlands, and it was a really, really modern, funky, like beautiful venue. I mean, you go past it now and it looks like crap. It's so decrepit.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a really upmarket, lovely venue.
Yeah, well, it's in the Golden Triangle, right, with Nedlands.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep. So Lubar, the George, Indian Ocean Brewing Co. up in Mindari.
Really? In Mindari?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So you've got the
Indian
Indian Ocean Brewing Company in the boat.
Yep.
There,
I've played at the boat. Yeah.
So Indie Brew just around the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
So when they very first opened, I was their resident DJ there for a couple of years.
That's awesome. Yeah. That place is pretty cool. Like up in Mindari.
Yeah.
That area. With just like the way the houses are, with like the quay basically, like with the little water inlet.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's so pretty. And the one thing I love about it though, from playing at the boat, is everyone up there is there's a lot of British people up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so with
me
that,
being a house DJ and all being Brits up there, they were just like, they were mad for it. Like,
That's
they
it.
Absolutely loved it.
It's the same thing for me. It's like I love playing Britpop. So being able to play at the boat and play a bit of house and then play a bit of classic like Fool's Gold or The Cure or something like that, it's just so good.
Well, honestly, the feedback that I used to get from the English population up there, right, they would come up to me and go like, dude, what are you doing DJing in Perth? And I'd be like, what do you mean? They're like, if you were in the UK, like if you were playing this set in the UK, you'd be like one of the top DJs over there. I'm like, fuck, like I never made it, you know what I mean? Like it's just
But at the same time,
I feel like I fell short.
You're still part of Perth's history though, which is still awesome.
I did end up employing a guy called James Francis, who was a resident at Cream.
At Cream.
Yep, in London.
Okay.
He played at some of the big clubs over there, and then him and his girlfriend moved to Perth.
Yeah.
And they, as most English people do, they moved to sort of like Alkimos or Yanchep, or you know what I mean. They sort of moved to those northern beachy suburbs.
Yeah.
Because you come from London or England, and then you got beach, blue skies, fresh air. Why wouldn't you, right? And you come with your pounds converted to Aussie dollars, and you can buy a beachfront house in friggin' Alkimos or somewhere like that.
Yeah, it was wild with that.
So him and his girlfriend moved over. They bought themselves a house sort of up that way, and he came into the Indian Ocean Brewing Company one night, and was like listening to me DJ, and he was one of the guys that said, man, he said, you're like far too good for Perth. You should be DJing overseas. And I said, oh, you DJ? And he said, yeah, I've played at Cream and a few other places. I said, oh, jump on, have a mix. So I took my toilet break and let him play for a few songs, and he was really good. So I ended up giving him a job. So we ended up sort of co-residents up there, and then I started working for a guy called Carl Carosella who had extended play.
Oh yeah, okay.
It wasn't called extended play back then. It was called something else. And again, my memory fails me because Andy took it over.
Yeah.
Extended play, and Andy.
Yeah, because I always thought Andy started it. Like, I don't know much about extended play.
So Carl had it before Andy. Andy Carpenter. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Carl had it before Andy. And how I ended up... Oh, my God. Talk weird stories. How I ended up working there was they had an old, like, Ford or Mazda. It was a Mazda B2200 van, like a bright red van with all Pioneer logos on it. And, it was their... company car, but Pioneer had stickered it up, right? Painted it and stickered it up. It was a shitty old van, but it looked really, really good. And it was broken down on the side of the road one day. And, I saw all the Pioneer stickers and stuff over it, and saw this guy, like, kind of pulling his hair out. So I pulled over, and he had a flat tire or something. So I helped him, and and he's like, oh, my name's Josh. I work at Extended Play or whatever it was called back then. You should come in and meet the guys sometime. Thanks so much for helping me out. So I went in, and then Carl recognised me because he was the manager of the Booragoon Tavern. No, he was the DJ at the Booragoon Tavern and the manager, I think. Like back when I had my dancers there, like back in the day.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Jez, how you going? And he's like, you remember the Booragoon Hotel? He's like, I was the DJ. Remember that night? Blah, blah. So anyway, so he said, look, you want to come and work in the shop with me? So I ended up working at Extended Play for a couple of years.
Really?
And so he brought Andy on as a manager, and Andy ended up buying the place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But sort of I ran their DJ agency for them. So, and that's how I sort of got into the corporate and wedding stuff as well, because I was like doing, we were managing venues like.
I had no idea Extended Play was doing that as well.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was just drum and bass events, to be honest.
No. So back then we had venues. We had a DJ agency. We had a massive hire department.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'd loan out decks and speakers and PAs and all sort of stuff on the weekends. So Andy ran the place. Carl was the owner, and then eventually Carl sold it to Andy. And I stayed on there for a while. So I think I worked there for about 2.5 years in total.
That's amazing. You've done so much.
Oh, dude. So, we're scratching the surface, honestly. We are scratching the surface. So I ran the DJ agency. We did, weddings, parties, anything. I started getting into private to corporate gigs.
Yep.
And then eventually what happened was there was a company called DG Global at the time.
Okay.
There was a lady called Hayley who was sort of running the events for DG Global. She was their events manager. And she started requesting me for all of her gigs, and I eventually left Extended Play and just started working exclusively for DG Global.
Yeah, okay.
And then Hayley split and started her own company, and I worked exclusively for her. So I did like every corporate function that she did for probably like 5 years.
That's the thing about it. There's good money in doing functions, corporates, weddings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then she was sort of like mid 20s, and so a lot of her girlfriends were getting married and stuff. So she'd like have me at her girlfriend's. I would be the DJ for her girlfriend's weddings and stuff, and it just like, other than that one mixtape I made for Simon Barwood at bass, I never did a demo tape in my life. Like it was literally just word of mouth.
Yeah.
And it just kind of it just sort of
expanded.
grew.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing weddings, corporate, plus I was still DJing in like bars and nightclubs and stuff as well. I my cup was pretty full for a while there. I was working a lot and earning decent money, but I wasn't, but at the same time, wasn't that well known, if that makes any sense.
You're kind of underground, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like a Micah or, like one of those guys, like everybody knows who these guys are in Perth.
Yeah. But see, that's how I go about it as well. That's what I'm doing. It's like, other than doing this podcast, I'm not trying to play at nightclubs and try and get the headline slot or open for like, big DJs or anything like that. Yeah. I just love playing at pubs and bars.
Yeah.
But then like the word gets out a little bit, but I don't want to be famous or anything silly like that. I'm just happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah,
so
same. Like
it's the way to do it.
Yeah. I ended up, so one gig that I did get that, some of the corporate ones that I did were huge. They were like thousands of people in a room, they were big events.
Yeah, and like, corporate gigs, they get wild.
Like big mining company gigs, but then you'd have like the WA Soccer, they would have their awards night. The WAFL would have their awards night. So the Sandover Medal, things like that. So I was doing a lot of these like big sort of corporate functions where they had like, MCs like newsreaders and TV personalities as their MCs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, the Heineken Golf Classic, like I was the DJ for the Heineken Golf Classic for a few years.
Heineken Golf Classic? Never heard of that.
Yeah, up in the Vines, I used to have the Heineken Golf Classic. And, Greg Norman would come every year and, and that like, 1 year I was the support act for, you probably don't remember the M People, but anyway.
No, not the M People.
Were like this amazing sort of house act of the 90s. They made heaps of albums and just had this really cool like northern soul house music, British vibe. Ended up being support for them. So I did some really big things, but I never really wanted to be too big.
Yeah.
Like it's almost sort of intimidating, I think, even though I've probably played to much bigger rooms than a lot of the sort of big name DJs have. I still didn't really make that big of a name for myself. I did do a New Year's Eve party in Northbridge like one night, and I got the midnight set, like the
countdown, yeah.
Yeah, so I got the countdown and I got to play the first song of the new year, and it was like on the corner of William Street and James Street, because obviously they had it all blocked off, and they had a huge sort of stage set up on the museum, sort of art centre museum side of the street there.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
And I was up, up in the stage light, just looking straight down James Street. And James Street, they had speakers all down James Street, and it's just thousands of people. Yeah. And like getting to like be the the headline DJ at midnight.
Yeah, that would have been an experience.
So much fun. Like it was such a it's addictive. Like I can see why people want that high.
That's it. Yeah. It's just a dopamine rush.
On any night, and you just see everybody's hands go in the air and them go nuts. It's just like, yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Dance to me, peasants. It's good fun,
Yeah.
And the thing is, like what I've learned from doing corporate, doing weddings, doing bars, doing clubs. It really doesn't matter the genre of music, and it really doesn't matter the platform. It doesn't matter whether it's off a laptop. It doesn't matter whether it's friggin', CD, vinyl, USB. There is something to be said for being responsible for people having a great night out. Seeing
I
people
really
dance
like this.
to the Nutbush City Limits
Yeah.
is every bit as exciting as seeing people dance to the latest, house track or, like it really, it's the same high.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Like, I just love seeing people have a good time, and I really don't care, what the decks are in front of me, and I don't care what the genre of music that I'm playing, because I can play anything. I can play everything from hip hop to breaks to trance to techno.
That's so
to
good
house,
as well. Yeah.
Like to drum and bass.
Yeah.
I can mix anything.
Being
And
a
I do.
multi-genre DJ
And
is so
doing weddings
good.
and corporates, you got to mix it up.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing mashups pretty much all night. You kind of you do 3 or 4 tracks of one genre, 3 or 4 tracks of another genre. Like you just changing gear all night.
Yeah.
And I say it doesn't matter the genre.
Yeah.
Like if people are having a good time,
That's what matters.
that
Yeah.
is what matters.
Yeah. See, that's it. That's exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
See, I find that a lot, like in today's day and age, a lot of people are just trying to become DJs for the clout, for the girls, for the money, for the to look like they're rich and they're in a car and they're partying with a bottle of champagne or something like that. But at the end of the day, it should just be about expressing your your feelings, your emotions through the music, even though you're playing other people's music, but creating a dance floor.
Yeah.
I've said this on the podcast multiple times, but what I used to do, right, to try and kickstart the dance floor going is that if I'm playing like at a bar or a pub, I'd actually play a long song, like I'd play Blue Monday by the New Order or something, right? And I'd run down to the bar and I'd get 2 shots of tequila. Then I'd play like 3 or 4 more songs, right? But then I'd play the tequila song. Yeah. And so that everyone's like, where's the DJ going? And then like, okay, he's got some shots. He's running back to the DJ booth. And then play a few more songs. Then play a tequila song. Yeah. And then bang these shots of tequila back. Yeah. Then everyone's looking like, shit, he's ready to have a good night. Yep. So then it just like kickstarts that atmosphere, that energy, that, just that emotion. And then it can turn into such a fun night, like a party basically.
Yep. Well, because I was a dancer. Right. And I got employed to get dance floors going in nightclubs. That was my job. They'd put me on early. Yeah. And I would go and dance, like either on the dance floor, and then I'd jump up on a speaker box or in a cage, So it was my job to get the crowd going, So as a DJ, I would do the same thing. I'd put a long track on, then I'd run down to the dance floor. I'd grab a couple of girls and like pull them out on the dance floor.
Oh, really?
And of course, you know what dance floor's like. It only takes one person, right? And then, so I would actually like leave the DJ booth. I'd be like, "What's the DJ doing on the dance floor?" And I would get the dance floor happening, and then run back to the DJ booth.
That is so good. That's amazing. Because that's the thing, is you're involving yourself in it, and then you're creating that atmosphere. That's what I find like a lot of people are missing in today's day and age. Because they'll just go to a club. They'll go to a drum and bass night, but it's already busy. Everyone's already on pills or drinking or whatever it is. But you're playing for a 1-hour set. Yeah. And it's like the guy before you has already built the dance floor. So you're just continuing it on.
Exactly. You're just continuing the vibe.
Yeah. Instead of going, all right, let's make an atmosphere. Yeah. You come dance with me. You come dance with me. Let's have a great time. Yeah. That's a really good ethos, like a good way to look at it. It's the way to do it.
If you ever, do see me DJing, like I'm dancing behind the decks the whole time. Like I do not stop moving because I love the music I play, right? Yeah. And again, I've got house music in my veins, like I said, and I'm a dancer at heart. So like I get up there and I just dance the whole time I'm playing, you know, like
Yeah.
I've ripped so many bloody headphone cords out out of the socket because I'm like, you know, I forget that I've got my cans on.
Yeah,
I'll like
that's it.
spin or jump or dance.
Yeah,
you know,
and
go,
get
"Oh,
wrapped
shit,
up. Yeah.
there goes another pair.
Yeah. But that's so good though. That's
Yeah,
like
I
that's
love it.
it's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's exercise at the same time as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because like I've started like my phone's got a pedometer on it, right?
Yeah.
But the other day I DJ'd at the Peach Pit.
Yeah.
And so DJing at the Peach Pit, I did a 5.5 hour set.
Yeah.
But doing that 5.5 hour set, apparently I think it was like 28 Ks or 26 Ks
Yeah, right.
of dancing. Because like the way we're at the Peach Pit, it's like you've got the bar inside,
Yeah.
but then you've got the outside part where
Yeah.
it's like it faces the street.
Yeah.
So they put me out there
Yeah.
where there's like a glass wall,
Yep.
but everyone can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stand there and just press buttons.
Yeah.
Like I love bopping around and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
because I'm in the public eye, I'm just dancing, having a great time.
Yeah.
Believe me, at the end of that gig, I could barely walk. I was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
tired. But the reactions,
Yeah.
from what happened, people loved it.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That really is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why, as I said, people get lost in this whole idea of DJing. It should just be expression. Like,
Yeah.
it should be able to just...
like self-expression, like it's an art form, right?
Yeah,
like, you're
exactly.
not there to like I said, to pick up or to be famous or you know. And I do see these DJs
Yeah.
with their sunnies on and trying to be cool. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
let it go. Like just let the music flow through you, man. Like
That's
you
it.
know, like just like it's an art form. It's not. It shouldn't be anything else.
Yeah.
You know, and the best DJs I think are the ones who it is their art, it is their self-expression. You know,
Yeah.
they're putting their heart and soul into it,
Yeah.
rather than just trying to be cool.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then there's also the gatekeepers where people are saying it's like, you should learn on vinyl first, or you should learn on CDJ.
yeah.
CDJ is the way to go. But the thing is, it's like, I always use this term where Jimi Hendrix played the guitar upside down and also had strung it back to front.
Yeah.
Because no one taught him how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
He picked up the guitar and was like, oh, this sounds cool. I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
And he became Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like, he didn't follow the normal way.
Exactly.
He did his own thing.
Yeah.
And that's the art form in itself.
Yep.
Is being able to, you can use a laptop and be good at it.
Yep.
You can use CDJs and be good at it. You can use vinyl and then play on 3 vinyl decks.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it work.
Yeah.
Like, it's being able to express
Yeah.
yourself and have fun with it. And
Yeah.
people see that and it rubs off onto
Yeah,
you, and then
absolutely.
you have a good time.
Yeah, the medium doesn't matter. Like I said, as long as people are having fun,
Yeah.
how you deliver it is irrelevant. It's
That's
because
it.
you're not there for you. You're there for the people on the dance floor.
That's exactly it.
And yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think I'm gonna try what you said before. Like, instead of going and get tequila, just run on the dance floor and be like, "All right, you come
Yeah,
dance
yeah.
with me." Just like, because it'd be funny. It'd be so
Yeah,
funny,
it's-
but it'd be fun. It'd be
Yeah.
great. Like, it would just build that atmosphere.
yeah, it's
So,
a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And that's like it should be fun. And when you have that fun energy about you, like when you're dancing, when you're smiling, when you're engaging people with eye contact, and grabbing girls and running onto the dance floor with them, like that is infectious. Like people feel that vibe in a venue. And again, I personally much prefer a friendly, smiling, approachable DJ to some dude who thinks he's all that in a bag of chips.
that's
like,
exactly it.
like
Yeah,
being all
Yeah.
you know how they are.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. So we're running out of time.
Yes.
So where can people find you today? Like, where can people find you? Because you're still DJing out and about, right?
No, I haven't played for a while, so that I retired. I went into retirement because I'm getting old and my body doesn't like staying up late anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing anywhere at the moment, but I am really keen to get back into it because again, it's the only time I've ever felt happy is when I'm truly happy is when I'm DJing.
Yeah.
Right? And I would love to play out again, but I guess I'm going to be like a little more, because I kind of hoard myself out for a while there. Like any gig was a good gig.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas now I just want to kind of do my thing.
Yep.
And see if people want to listen to it.
Yeah.
So I've only just got myself some decks again because I actually sold my decks, and I kind of wiped my hands clean a bit for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just picked myself up some decks, and I'm just sort of getting back in the groove. I obviously did the world record attempt that Kieran and those guys organised.
Yeah, that's where I met you. Yeah.
And obviously a few people sort of went, oh, this guy can actually DJ, even though it was only one track. Sort of got myself, I guess, in people's eyes and minds a little bit. And doing stuff like this, I guess, helps to sort of, let people know that
Yeah.
that I am a very experienced DJ and I do love
Well,
what I do.
after this,
and-
let's chat because I know a few companies that I could potentially forward you onto.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Because then there could be just Sunday sessions available.
Yeah, yeah.
And it could just be
Yeah.
2
And
to 5 or something like
That's
that.
all I want to do, man. I just want a few hours. I don't, like I said, I don't want to be Johnny on the spot. I don't want to be headlining at Geisha at friggin' 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's it. That time's
mad
gone.
respect to those guys, but I just don't have the energy anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Sunday session DJ. Like I'm a day rave DJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Put me on at the next DJ like day rave, Kieran. Like like that's about my speed.
Yeah.
And I would like, I'm sort of looking for small venues that I can maybe start like doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Again, it might be a day thing or it might be just sort of an earlier in the evening thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely want to get back into it for sure.
Okay.
But I've got my DJ SILFOXX page on Instagram and Facebook. Again, I'm not very good with the social media.
Yeah, it's a different ball game, isn't it, these days?
Yeah.
Like, I've just learnt Google search engine optimization and Facebook search engine optimization. So, like, being able to say, like, get your page to the top of the list.
Yeah.
But it was like learning another language,
Yeah, I
honestly. Yeah, it was very full on, going
Yeah.
through adverts and statistics and data and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Because this is the day and age we live in now.
Yeah.
Kids are born with iPhones in their hands, and then they learn coding. Like,
And that's it, like in the 10 years that I've sort of been out, it's changed.
Yeah.
It's completely transformed. Everything's digital now, like
Yep.
everyone's playing on controllers. Nobody really has decks anymore, or they have sort of Nexus mixers and Nexus CD players and stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole record box. Like it's changed so quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, by my own admission, I'm a dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like I've got to relearn the thing that I've been doing for 20 years. I've got to relearn it now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone's going to hire me to play on my 1200s and my CDJ 1000 Mark IIIs that I've got set up at home. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I've
That's
got to buy
it.
myself a controller and learn that kind of that art form. And
Yeah. It just takes time and dedication. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But if you've already got music in your blood,
Yeah,
it should
exactly. I'll pick
it
it
should
up
be
quick,
easy.
but
That's it. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on,
Oh,
though.
dude, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah, this has been really good.
We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
Like I said, we've just scratched the surface. I got a whole bunch more stories.
Well, see, like I'm gonna try and get panels going.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like I've been saying it for a long time, but I always get like a new guest on, just like one guest, or I get like maybe a band on or something like that. But like getting panels on can be so much fun.
Yeah.
And like getting a panel on where we can talk about the fun times of the history of Perth, like what we've already scratched the surface of.
Yeah.
It'd be so good to get like 3 other DJs or something like that had been around back then to laugh and tell stories and have a good time.
Yeah.
So
I got one last quick story. So my very first night DJing at the Queens, I just remembered this. It just popped into my head.
Yeah.
My very first night DJing at the Queens, I was living in North Perth with a group of mates, and one of my mates said, "Well, what's your DJ name going to be?" And I was just like, "DJ Jez." And he went, "Oh." He goes, "Let me carve it into the back of your head with a set of clippers." So he wrote DJ Jez across the back of my head here with his
Whilst you were
clippers.
DJing.
And but I rocked up to my first night ever DJing in my life in a venue. Like, this is for my trial. I rocked up with my name
really
clipped into the back of my head. Like, I'm talking like real rough too, like not pretty.
That's amazing. Did the booking agent see that at all, or anyone? Or?
Oh, well, like I said, it was just the manager of the Queens who gave me the gig.
Yeah. But
So,
did he see it though? Or?
Yeah, I was showing it to everyone. I was so proud of it. I couldn't even see it. Like, he could have written, dickhead or something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have even
anything.
known.
Yeah.
But, someone did actually take a photo and show me. It did actually say DJ Jez. But
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So tacky.
Yeah. All right. So to wrap things up, next week we have, because we do it every Thursday now, we've got because we're booked up until April.
Wow.
Yeah, like bookings go so quick.
Yeah.
I literally just sent out a bunch of messages.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first week of January, or second week of January, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I'll have this date, I'll have that date," and then straight away within 2 hours, booked up until
Well,
April.
like, you sent me like 4 or 6 dates or something, and by the time I got back to you, he's like, "There's one left, dude." Like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll
that's
take
it.
that one then, I guess.
Yeah, that's where I was like, shit, it's like, got to try and work it out, but it's just, the dates go quick.
Yeah.
So we have Brendan O'Brien coming on. So I can't remember, like, I've booked him for a reason. I know he's involved in the nightlife.
Yeah.
But he's going to come on, have some fun. So
Awesome.
yeah. All right then. Well, thank you so much again. Once again, this has
Mate.
been so good and so
Thank
much
you.
fun.
And
So-
likewise, you're such a good interviewer, man. Like, you make it
Thank
so
you.
relaxed and so easy. Like, it's
Well,
a
it's
lot
just
of fun. So.
it's just a casual conversation.
Yeah, right.
So that's the thing about it, right? Just quickly before we wrap it up, right? So I've had guests on that have been interviewed by Triple J and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they've said it's like for a Triple J interview, they'll get asked a question, they'll have 60 seconds to answer it,
Yeah.
and then out of that 60 seconds, they'll chop it up to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't really get to answer the question.
Yeah.
But with this, it's just we're just hanging out,
Yeah.
talking about history and talking about whatever. So
An hour and a half. Like,
yeah, that's it.
Good stuff.
And time flies, right? When
It
you're having
really
fun.
does. I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to talk about for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and there you go,
I'm not
right?
that interesting, right? And then here we go. I'm like, actually,
Yeah.
I got a bunch more stories to tell you.
That's
Like,
it. Yeah, that's why you got to come back on. So
all right,
yeah.
anytime.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Next week Thursday, 7 or 7:30, with Brendan O'Brien, and we'll go from there. So, all right, catch you guys.
So yeah,
So there you go.
awesome, dude. That was so much fun. Thank
Yeah.
you.